Okay, so we have previously discussed antigens. So now we'll be dealing with the counterpart of your antigen, immunoglobulins, or more commonly known as antibodies. So antibodies, they are the normal receptor, no, on the surface of your B cells, but we are much more familiar, no, with the free-flowing antibodies, no, in our blood, no, particularly in the serum. Okay, but aside from serum, you can also find antibodies, no, in the milk and mucosal secretion. That's why it's very important for neonates, no, or freshly born animals, no, to ingest colostrum, no, rich in antibodies, no, from the dam, in order for that particular youngster, no, to be protected, no, provided with maternal antibodies, no, because again at an early stage of immunity, that particular animal, no, especially the young ones, they are not yet capable of producing a competitive immune response. So they needed, no, they badly need maternal antibodies, no, coming from their mother. Okay. These molecules are made up of glycoproteins, and well, the name, of course, it provides immunity, and structurally, the if although the common representation of immunoglobulin will be the letter Y, but actually in its functional structure, it's globulated. No? Of course, because it's composed of glycoproteins, and remember, proteins, they have quaternary structures, no, biologically. So usually they are slightly rounded, no, on the side. Okay, they are secreted by big plasma cells, so differentiated B cells, and for in 1 second they can your plasma cells can produce 300 immunoglobulin molecules. That's how fast these cells, no, produce antibodies. No? That's why they need a lot of endoplasmic reticulum, no? Particularly ribosomes, no, because they need to produce high amounts of protein. Main functions of your antibodies, no? Prevention of bacterial or viral attachment, usually viral or bacterial neutralization. Same thing with free bacteria or free viruses, no? They just need to neutralize to avoid any interaction, no, of that particular virus or bacteria to a susceptible cell. Okay. Stimulation of phagocytosis through opsonization. We have discussed this, no, before, opsonization. So the 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 foreign material is tastier, no, for the macrophages or for your dendritic cell. Initiation of complement-mediated cytolysis, no, or cytolysis. Um, you've seen this, no, in the video on complement system, particularly in the classical pathway, and antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity. So the cell-mediated cytotoxicity is just normally it's brought about by cytotoxic T cells. Now, however, if um, the infected cell, no, has been identified first by an antibody, then it would be easier for the T cell to identify that particular infected cell, and then it can kill it. Okay. In this case, all antibodies are immunoglobulins, but not all immunoglobulins possess the functions of antibodies. It's more like, especially when you go to the term of neutralizing antibodies. So neutralizing antibodies are much better compared to a normal antibody. So when we say neutralizing, it's your immunoglobulins are really functional. They can clearly neutralize a particular pathogen, like for example, virus or bacteria. Okay, because your body may produce immunoglobulins, but they are not that too good, no, or the affinity of your antigen binding site to the antigen or to that particular pathogen is not that good. So it's something that the body has to improve, no, in order for it to really battle other pathogens, no, kasi if the quality of the immunoglobulin is not good, then um, your humoral immunity, no, or your secondary or the second phase of the protection, no, against pathogens would be greatly affected. Okay, so this is what clumping or neutralization of free bacteria or free viruses looks like. So you have here bacterial toxins. So normally bacterial toxins will attach to the receptors on the cell, no, to show damage, no, or to induce damage to the cell. However, in the neutralization, so your antibodies will clump the toxins and they can no longer interact with the receptor, not giving any damage. Okay. Same thing, because of the clumping, the toxin, no, can be easily digested by a macrophage. Okay. Same thing here, opsonization. No, it's faster for the macrophages to ingest antibody tagged or marked pathogen. Okay. And here, so if you have antibodies marking your bacteria, for example, here, it's easier for the complement to initiate its effect of killing the bacteria along the way. Okay. So in the opsonization, so usually it's IgG and IgM. No, in the videos, no, it has been discussed. No, you have so many isotypes. No, usually you have 5. So in this case, so your IgG and IgM, they are the most efficient antibodies for opsonization. Okay. And then for activation of your classical pathway, so usually for classical pathway, you have IgM, IgG 1 to 3. Okay, so they are the efficient activators of classical pathway. For alternative pathway, so again, normally for the classical pathway, you have it is mainly dependent on antigen antibinding complex. Now, however, for alternative pathway, you have a lot of stimulants, no, to provoke, no, the activation of your alternative pathway, no, and in that case, no, you can utilize IgA, IG4, or IgE. Okay, and of course, in the case of complement systems, also the main goal is to bore a hole, no, on the surface of the bacterium in order for it to burst. Okay. Antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity. So, well, forget about the Chinese characters here, but the just focus now on the images. So you have here an infected cell tagged by immunoglobulin, and then since your macrophages, for example, in this case, they normally have the FC receptor or FCR. So this is the FC portion of your antibodies, the carboxy terminal. So in this case, it is identified, no, by your FC receptor, no, or FC region, or crystallizable fragment. No? It interacts with your FC receptor. And then if there's a, what do you call this? Successful interaction between the two, then it can clearly, this cell can clearly identify that this is a problematic cell. So it will be eliminated. Okay. So later on, we will also discuss how come that if the antibodies no, are freely available in the blood, why there are no premature interaction between the FC region and the FC receptor of different cells. So we will discuss this. Same thing here. So easily tagged, no? Madaling na hahanap, no, ng mga killer cells, no? Ang mga infected cells if they are tagged or marked by an antibody. Okay. So we will discuss first, no, parts of an antibody. Structurally, what are the important things to remember? This one will be on the next presentation. Sectional structure or molecular structure of immunoglobulin. So in protein structures, no, ito yung mga supposedly representation ng proteins. No? So we will discuss all of this. So basic structure of your immunoglobulin. So immunoglobulin is composed of 4 polypeptide chains. No? Usually we name, we call this the heavy chain and the light chains. No? 2 light chains, 2 heavy chains. Okay? And they are connected by interchain disulfide bonds. When we say interchain between light and heavy chain, and intrachain between the 2 heavy chains. Okay? These are your disulfide bonds. Okay? Heavy chains, they are, well, bigger, no, and composed of more amino acids compared to your light chains, almost half, no, or more than half of the amino acid sequence, no, and even the weight. Okay. And then there are 2 terminal ends for your peptide chain. So you have your N-terminal, okay, or the amino terminal end. This is where the interaction between antigen, no, happens. And the carboxy terminal end, this is where the interaction with the FC receptor. Okay, so you have to remember that. So this will be the antigen binding site. This is your cell binding site. Okay. There are classes and types of immunoglobulin, no, depending on the H chain or the heavy chain. So previously we are talking about when if by now, no, you have seen the videos, no, on antibodies, so you should have well, probably you're familiar already with this. So that's why our discussion in this presentation, no, is faster, no, as compared for a regular class. So the classes, no, of your antibodies, no, usually dictated by your H chain or the heavy chain. So immunoglobulins can be divided into 5 classes or subclasses. Now you have 5 classes of heavy chains. No? So you have the gamma, the alpha, the mu, the delta, and the epsilon. Okay, that's why you have the IgG, IgA, IgM, IgD, and IgE. Okay. For IgG, you have further differentiation, IgG1 to IgG4, and you have your IgA, IgA1, and IgA2. Okay. According to the difference of L chains, so although this one hindi na masyadong significant, no, but nevertheless, if probably you're taking masters or PhD with immunology, this will be highly significant. No? You have 2 types of chain. You have the kappa and the lambda subtypes. 2 regions of each peptide chain. So you have the constant region and the variable region. Okay, so the variable region, no, is actually your antigen binding site, and as the name implies, variable, it varies, no, it differs, no, from immunoglobulin, from type of immunoglobulin. So and then the constant region, this doesn't necessarily change, no? So well, as the name implies, it's a constant region. And of course, binding the two, no, would be the hinge region wherein the between the variable region and the first part of your constant region, or usually we call it CH1. Okay, or this one is the constant heavy chain 1, and then you have the light chain 1. Okay, and then there's another hinge here between your CH, no, and CH1 and CH2. Okay, and this hinge, you know, later on you will be seeing that your immunoglobulins, they move. no, they rotate, no, on these hinges. Okay, and the presence of these hinges, no, is critical, no, with regards to the interaction of your immunoglobulin with an antigen. Okay, so when we talk about constant region, this is your almost 3/4 or 4/5, no, of your heavy chain from here to here. Okay, here to here. So that is your constant heavy chain. Then your constant light chain, that is just half. Okay, here. Half of the half of the light chain, no, is composed of the constant, and of course half would be the variable region. Okay. Well, the variable region is usually 1/4 of your heavy chain and 1/2 of your light chain. And your variable region actually is of course in the N or the N-terminal region or amino terminal N. Okay. So this variable region, no, meron pang mas differentiated, no, sa variable region. You have the hypervariable region, or there are three highly diversity stretches within the V region or the variable region, and they are called the HVR or the hypervariable region. So these are actually the binding site for your binding sites for your antigen. Okay, and they are like three fingered appendage, no? Two on combining, like for example, heavy chain and light chain, no? Because in your well, in this case for immunoglobulin G, you have two antigen binding sites, no? So you have here three HVR here, three HVR here, and then another two here. Okay, so your HVR, no, will of course definitely dictate, no, the complementary determining regions on this. Okay, so the way they fold will dictate, no, how will they interact with a specific antigen, and this gives the paratope, no, or the antigen binding site of your immunoglobulin specific, of course. So for example, in this case, the CDR, no, or the HVR, no, is like this. So most likely the antigen will be globular, but if it's a little bit flat, no, then the antigen will be a little bit elongated. No? So here you can find the CDR, no? Same thing with your hypervariable region in the light chain and the heavy chain. Okay. So this just shows you the way the protein folds, no, combination of your variable heavy and variable light chain to accommodate different antigens. Okay. Agiotype of immunoglobulin. So usually immunoglobulins produced by different B cells possess unique structure respectively in hypervariable region. The unique structure of immunoglobulin is called agiotype or agiotypic determinant. Of course, if your B cells produce, there are a lot of B cells in the body, and then they will produce different immunoglobulins. So different, they like you have two B cells, they will produce IgG, but the IgG that is produced by this B cell, no, is different from the IgG produced by this one, and they usually vary in the antigen binding site or the CDR or HVR here. So for example, in this case, this immunoglobulin, no, will only interact with a circular antigen. While in this case, ano ba tawag natin dito? Medyo globulated, no, na antigen. Okay. So again, in the hinge region, I previously discussed that it provides flexibility, no, for your immunoglobulin in order for them to interact, no, with your antigen, and they are quite sensitive to proteolytic enzymes. So we will discuss this using papain or pepsin. Okay. So your immunoglobulin molecule, the best example would be your IgG. So usually they have this the horn, no, of your letter Y, no, yung dalawang projections, they rotate, okay, like this. excuse me, and then the tail of the Y, at the bottom, they wag. Okay, and normally when they are in the serum, or in the blood, they move. Okay, but once they are already attached, to a particular pathogen, they stop moving. So that's uh, the way that that particular antibody, can be easily um, attached, or can easily be found by a particular cell. Okay, so once nag-stop na yung wagging, especially on the FC region or FC domain, so your FC receptor, from a macrophage can easily attach to it. No, and in that case, opsonization will be better, ADCC will be better, or will be initiated, and complement system can also be achieved. Activation of complement system will be also initiated. However, in the case of free moving immunoglobulin without interaction with the antigen, they constantly move. So in that case, the FC receptor will get a hard time, catching it. So there will be no premature interaction between, for example, a phagocyte and an IgG. Okay, so it is only when the immunoglobulin, is occupied or bound to an antigen that this wagging will stop, and that's the time that its biological function can also be initiated. Okay. Other structures of immunoglobulin, so you have the joining chain and the secretory piece. Now, this is very important, especially for IgA. Okay, so the main immunoglobulin, in secretions, particularly in the milk. So in your IgA, your IgA, is composed of two, it's like two IgGs, joined together. Okay, so they are dimer. So of course, in order for them to join, there should be a J chain, okay, or a joining chain, okay, and there's also a secretory component in the middle, to provide its biological effect. Now remember, most of your immunoglobulins will be inside the blood vessel, or within, or mixed with blood. However, in the case of IgA, it's interesting, how in the world they can travel, for example, from the blood to the milk, or to the mucosal surfaces. Okay. So your joining chain produced by the plasma cells, they of course they tend to provide the linking, of the immunoglobulin to form different types of immunoglobulin. Like for example, for the IgA, so you have a joining chain here, and then for IgM, which is a pentamer, composed of five IgG. So you have here uh, joining chain here. Of course, definitely this is much heavier, as compared to the IgA, and of course less, yung IgG, ito yung Y lang dito. Okay? Secretory piece, produced by mucosal epithelial cells, the function is to protect your immunoglobulin A, from premature proteolysis, in extrasecretory liquid. Ito yan. So if remember, this is joined, by this J chain or J protein, and this one is somewhat like a protection. Okay, parang balot or bandage, and let's see why. So in order for your secretory IgG to be present, in the luminal surface, of your in your mucosal surfaces, like for example in the respiratory or in the GIT. So when your plasma cells produce your IgA, o yung dimer, dalawa yan. So your poly-Ig receptor will receive your dimer, okay? And then it will go inside, the vesicle, no, of a particular cell, no, and then it will be cleaved, this one, to release your secretory IgA. So again, without the presence of this secretory IgA, the transfer, no, of the sorry, I think this one is on the let's do a recap, no? Erase tayo. So from your dimeric IgA, no, in order for it to transfer, no, from the submucosa to the lumen, no, or the mucosal surface, no, it has to interact with the poly-Ig receptor. Okay, and then this poly-Ig receptor, it will initiate, no, the endocytosis, no, and then in order for it to be released, no, outside, it has to be cleaved here, and then this poly-Ig receptor, no, will now become the secretory protein, no, and of course, without this receptor, this particular IgA cannot travel, no, it has to interact with this Ig receptor first. Okay, and then aside from that, no, it will also provide stability, no, with this particular IgA, no, and remember you have a lot of proteases, no, that can degrade your immunoglobulin, but somehow this structure, no, can also provide protection, no, against premature protein degradation. But nevertheless, its main goal, no, is to transfer the IgA, no, from the inside to the outside. Okay. Domains. No, these are just like, for example, the region, no. Ano yung mga kumbaga, mga regions, no, wherein you have the biological function of that particular, or of an antibody. Okay. So for example, in this case, you have the antigen binding site. Definitely this domain, no, would be your antigen binding site, your VH and VL1. So variable heavy, variable light, variable heavy. For the allogenic marker, no, or antigenic, this one is much more of your antigen can become your antibody can become an antigen to other people. Okay, for example, if you harvest like an antibody from me, my antibody will not be literally an antibody to somebody that you have injected my antibody. No, my antibody will become an antigen, and this CH1 CL1, so constant light chain and your constant heavy chain, no, this will provide the allogenic marker, no, antigen for other people or other species, or even same species. No? That's why you don't readily inject. No, if you notice, no, especially when it comes to tetanus, no, or antibody rabies, no, you have to be tested first, no? Although there's a different concept on that, because we normally don't want to experience hypersensitivity, no, kaya tinetest tayo sa skin, but nevertheless yun, it is the function of that particular region, the allogenic marker, no, to differentiate it from the antibody of the host. Okay, complement fixing site, no. In order for your for example, for your classical pathway to be initiated, no, well, aside from the antibody should stop moving, so this one, usually this area, no, is not targeted, or not easily targeted by your C1q, because again, they are moving. However, in the case of when the antibody is already bound with the antigen, okay, so it stops moving, and then this portion is already exposed to C1q. So it can now initiate complement activation. Okay? Without the antigen, it's moving. So that area is not accessible to the C1q. Okay. And then the hinge region, so flexible and suitable for CDR of immunoglobulin binding to antigenic determinants. So again, if your antibodies are moving, they can have better chance of interacting with an antigen, okay, compared to a stationary antigen binding site. Okay, so pag ganyan lang, pero pag they have like this, so same concept with mixing. No, when you mix, you let the mixture move, no, or the solution move in order for it to blend well. No, same concept. No, the movement is very important. Hydrolytic fragments. Okay, and again, the hydrolytic fragments, so they are obviously on the hinge part, no, of your immunoglobulin. So the digestion, no, particularly by the enzymes papain or pepsin, they have difference, no, in the positioning or in the position of the cleavage, the fragments produced, and the possible functional presence, no, or the retained function, no, after the enzyme digestion. Okay, so in the case of papain, okay, so almost enzyme, no, na halos makukuha mo sa papaya, papain. So maraming enzyme na papain ang papaya, no? So you have the position near the SS bond of the H interchange from the N terminal end, no, or the N or the uh, amino acid, no, terminal. So in this case, here. Okay. So the fragments would be two antigen binding domains, no? 1, 2, and fragment of crystallizable fragment, or the FC. Okay, so antigen binding fragment and then the crystallizable fragment. Okay, and again, this is where your antigen interacts. This is where your FC receptor interacts. Okay, function, your FAB can still recognize and bind antigens. Okay, FC can fix complement. It can still cross the placenta, no, and it can still bind to the FCR region of your, or FC receptor, no, in different cells, because the damage, no, is entirely on the hinge. Okay. However, in the case of pepsin, so the position is the SS bond of the interchange from the C end, or the carboxy terminal end. No? So here, so what happens here is you have antigen binding fragment, no, with two valence, no, meaning dalawa. So yung isa kasi dalawa, yung dalawa is naputol yung sa gitna. So you have monovalence 1, 2. But in this case, a single molecule with two valence, or two interactive areas, no, for antigen. Okay? So is na-maintain niya yung dalawang structure dito. Sa papain, hinati yan. Okay? However, in the crystallizable fragment, no, in this case, no function kasi nahati na siya. Okay? So hindi siya enough, no, to initiate biological effect. As you can see here, for papain, you have two structures, no, or two the domains, no, for your antigen binding site, no, is still intact, because the cutting, no, happened here. However, in the case of pepsin, no, the cutting happened here. So that's why ito na-maintain. However, on the lower part, nasira. Okay? So remember, if nasira to, other biological function, no, of your immunoglobulin will be affected. No? Antigen binding will be retained. However, your complement activation, your AGCC, opsonization, they're all gone. Okay? Okay, let's continue the discussion in another video.